Hello, everyone. In today's lecture, let us understand what exactly a job interview aim at and how to prepare for an interview. Also, let us get a clear picture of the nuances surrounding the job interview. Job interview, it plays a very decisive role in determining the fate of a professional. Of the numerous candidates who appear for an interview for a position, often only one walks away with an offer letter. What distinguishes the candidate from the rest? What gives him or her the cutting edge? How does the candidate use his or her minimal time with the interviewer to make a favorable impression and clinch the job? Undoubtedly, the first impression happens to be the last. So, here in this lecture, I am going to help you with few tips to succeed in a job interview. To begin with, let us understand what is an interview. See, there are different definitions being given for it. An interview is a conversation between two or more people. That is, I mean here the interviewer and the interviewee, where questions are asked by the interviewer or interviewers, and the interviewee is expected to answer them to the satisfaction of the interviewer. Right? So, here the action is partly in control of the interviewer who asks the questions that the interviewee answers. So there are different types of interviews. Recruitment is one of the reasons for interviewing people. The other reasons happen to be promotion or appraisal. So generally an interview is a face-to-face interaction with the interviewer. Now, some of the MNC companies or when you work for overseas client, people are likely to be interviewed by a group of people, and the interview could be conducted over telephone or through video conferencing. What you do to prepare for a face to face interview can adequately serve any of the forms. So, there are campus interviews and on site interviews also. Some companies they do conduct written tests, may also be conducted before the interview as a part of a selection process. So there are elimination rounds on such occasions. There could even be aptitude test measuring your verbal intelligence to test your reasoning, numerical aptitude, and the like. To begin with, there are these are some of the different types of interviews which you can come across. There are organizations and jobs that call for physical tests. Yes, they just wants to ascertain the general health, your stamina, your auditory acuity. These are the various ways, various types of interviews that are conducted at the preliminary level. So the pre-interview stage, that is whatever be the type of interview, there are certain rudiments that every candidate needs to concentrate on. That is what the first one is with your curriculum vitae. How to prepare your CV. Then the possible questions that can be anticipated and answered, that is apt repartee to it. Your personal grooming and dress sense, the body language during the interview, and putting your best foot forward to impress the employer or interviewer. These are some of the pre-interview stage where you have to get ready yourself. How you are going to sell yourself, exhibit yourself, exhibiting your skills through action verbs. That is very important. because the mark of a good interviewee lies in your skill of preparing a CV that is customized according to the specific needs of the company's job profile. You have to highlight your skills and areas of your core competency. And if you have experience in the field which has been advertised for, you can make the most of this winning situation. If not, you can try to relate your current qualifications to the requirements of the new positions. So, if you are preparing a generic CV, you should put together some of the required skills. Yes, you have to list out the skills that you possess for the prospective employer. They generally look for your competency with the other candidate. So I have mentioned here some of the required top skills which you have to focus on, where whichever is required, whichever that you possess, you can mention in your CV. Communication skills, both verbal and written skills, people skills. Yes, you have to address it, how you are going to compose it. Everything matters in your written part of your CV. Then creative skills, what you are good at, how you can adapt yourself, how you can customize, how you can fashion yourself. Then teamwork skills, how it works well with others. You have to produce that. Interpersonal skills, how you relate well yourself with others. Then analytical skills, computer skills, organizational skills, management and leadership skill, research skills, technical skills. So when writing your CV, you have to focus on all these areas. I have mentioned one of very few top skills that generally people expect from your end. So you have to consider using the action verbs that describes your skills and accomplishments. That's very important. It should be an error-free CV, whatever that you align into it. Listing all your skills and accomplishments should be complemented with proofs, like you have to produce certificates and your testimonials. Yes, these are very much essential when you draft your CV. The next part of it is employer research. Before the interview, we need to gather, assimilate, and research on the information about the company and the position that is advertised. You have to understand the details of the company, such as the company's literature, where you can get all such things from the bulletins, you can obtain from the website. You can look for the reports and journal articles about the company. You will also be able to collect some rare insights if you interact with their employers. So try to look for some of the following details about the prospective employers. The first one is, what is the organization's mission and what products or services do they offer? Whether they do have the branches, off campus sites, or any supplementary products produced in the company. Who are their competitors? What is the organizational structure of the company? How are their workforce grouped? Like what is their size, structure, and market in terms of sales? All these information you have to understand before you step into the company for your interview. What are their future plans? Have they received any award or citation? So, a thorough research, the job advertised primarily to see if your profile suits you. You should also be able to state why you want to work for them in the particular specific field. For this, you should try to obtain a job description. That is what I have mentioned as the employer research. What are the overall responsibilities the job carries? Does the position match your career goals? Try to analyze the minimum professional requirement for the job. They are all very basic requirement. Based on the above, you tailor make your CV for the position. It is not that preparing one CV and applying for so many job sectors. Not like that. So your CV, while reflecting your potentials, should show that they match the requirements of the position. That's very, very important. Ideally, you should suggest that information like salary expected, some references, certificates, previous employers could be provided on request. Unless otherwise, whatever that is mentioned in the advertisement. So now these informations that you have to focus on uh, to prepare your CV. So if your CV is ready, you need to concentrate on some of the possible questions that might be asked during the interview and the best answers that you need to come up with. You have to get ready on all these areas. What are the possible questions that can be asked and how you have to answer the questions, like open-ended questions, critical probing questions, leading questions, challenging questions, how you have to answer all such questions. This I have already explained in my earlier lecture on interview techniques. You can go through that PowerPoint and listen to my lecture for how you have to answer a response for a minute or two for some of the questions. When you talk about, tell me about yourselves, or talking about your strength and weakness, right? So you can listen to my earlier lecture on interview techniques regarding handling the questions. Now, how to face the interview? What are the essential do's and don'ts during the time of interview? Just I have mentioned a few do's and don'ts here. You have to relax and be positive. Do not let anyone annoy or upset you because it will reflect on your performance. Reach the location of your interview earlier than the scheduled time. Dress code is very much important. Dress appropriately. That is, you have to avoid outfits that are very flashy or flamboyant. Despite your CVs being sent through emails, you can carry hard copy of the CV with you. And some of the body language etiquettes is how to enter the cabin or hall. We need to knock and ask for the permission with the people to enter. Greeting the interviewers, how to greet them by title. Avoid using the first names unless you are permitted to. How to shake hands firmly. This in my previous lecture, I had explained about the body language. How the body language, the movements, how you have to present yourself in an appealing manner. Always make a good eye contact. Be friendly and courteous with the people. Attitude is the key. Please understand. Show enthusiasm and interest. Always you be positive throughout and never speak negatively, especially about the former employers. The first thing is we have to listen to the questions properly, be attentive, and then answer your questions in a very relevant manner. Emphasize on your strengths. Discuss when they discuss about your weakness, then you answer about it. Only when they ask about your weakness, you can discuss about it. If not, leave that. And ideally, in a positive light. When you talk about your weakness, there also bring in some positivity. Speak clearly and concisely. Know some of the pertinent facts about the prospective employer when you talk with them. Avoid overemphasizing about the money concerns. And some of the don'ts which you have to focus on very attentively. Don't refer uh, constantly with your CV when you try to answer them. You have to be very thorough with what you have written in your CV. Maximum questions, they focus on the CV. Don't fidget or slouch. Don't act as if that you know everything. Yes, you have to act as though you do not act as though you would take any job. Don't lie. Don't give them monosyllabic responses. Don't talk about your personal issues for getting the job. That will create a very bad impression about you. And don't use mobile phones. You please make that in the switch off mode. Don't chew gum during the interview. Nowadays, majority of the children, they have the frequently they chew gum even when they attend the classes inside the classroom. This has become the habitual action. Don't chew gum during the interview. These are all some of the tips for the successful interview. You should be ready to sell yourself through your convincing answers. Convince them that you are the best person to be selected for the interview. In certain other types of interviews, the prospective employer they asks you to take the lead. You have to be ready for that. In such a situation, you should be in a position to ask some intelligent questions that show you have researched the employer, and not once that you could have easily found answers to on the organization's website. Have at least some questions ready, few questions, some around 5 to 10 questions ready to ask them. You are given about 1 minute to capture the interviewer's attention. You should be ready to make use of the time that had been given to you and relate your past experiences and the training that you have had. So once if the interview is done with, the past, that is the post interview stage, you it's something a very critical one. You should not ignore that. Write a thank you letter or email to the interviewer within the 2 days of your interview. And even if an offer is made to you, accept it verbally and in writing. If rejected, you can ask for constructive feedback and work on your weak areas. That is what the positive right step to move forward. Hope you can understand what I had explained to you. See, a job interview, it should have a certain objectives. The need for the right hand for the job being the key objective, and you have to plan accordingly how to achieve everything. You can emerge a winner in a job interview if you strategize well. Build your personal brand and unique selling point based on your skills, your qualifications, your professional strengths, and unique characteristics. Last but not the least, be honest, forthright, and be positive in your attitude, which will always lead you to success. Always go prepared for the interview. The best way is to rehearse beforehand. You can take the help of your friends to conduct a mock interview and give you the feedback. On top of everything, particularly, you focus on your body language, the tone of your voice. They are all very much essential. That will always take your career to the next level. Hope the inputs that I have shared in this lecture will help you for your for attending your successful interview. We'll meet you with yet another lecture. If you like the lecture, do subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.